we're lucky this evening to have, actually going to have two commissioners in the room, but we've got one that's going to lead us in prayer twice. So we'd like to start everyone our meeting with prayer. Commissioner, if you would come up here, and that microphone is yours.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here, great to be back in my home county and hometown. So let's go to the Lord in prayer. Lord, we thank you for the day you've given us, Lord, the spring air that we've enjoyed, the sunshine. We thank you, Lord, for Easter, Resurrection Sunday yesterday. We thank you that you are living and you are moving and doing your good will. Lord, we pray a blessing over this board and this mayor, this city and its leaders. We pray, God, a blessing over every decision that will be considered tonight for wisdom and discernment and the decisions that will be the right thing and best for the people and pleasing in your sight. Thank you, Lord, that we live in this great country and in this great state where we still do open meetings like this in prayer. And we ask you to give a blessing on all the families that are represented here, Lord, and be in the midst of all these proceedings. And may you get all the glory, because it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
He gets all the glory. All right, Byron. Do I need to come help you get up to the microphone? You think you can make it that far on your own? All right. So don't know that he can squeeze in what he needs to say in 10 or 12, 15 minutes, but we'll give it a try. So I intentionally tried to keep it in 30 minutes. I don't believe we're going to get through the sales tax stuff in 30 minutes, but we've got guests here. We'll let them go through whatever we don't get through, and sales tax, if we get to that in the next 30 minutes, and I'll continue that in the board meeting. All right, floor is yours, sir.
All right, I'll try to be quick.
I'll operate that equipment, just throw it to the right.
All right, I'll try to keep it at 10 minutes, and y'all can keep moving. All right, so this is the Summit at Brandon multifamily project for the site plan and architectural approval. We've got a few renderings here to start off, and then we can got a little context after that. But this is when you drive in. You see the clubhouse in front of you, and then you've got the pool and some amenities behind the clubhouse and some of the residential buildings. And so we've intentionally put the clubhouse in the middle, and then you've got this green space behind the pool. It's a good central area for amenities for all the tenants. This is a rendering of the residential building. I think y'all have seen this. And here's a snapshot of the back side of the clubhouse. And this is the pool area. So you've got some cabanas, some pergolas. You've got we're going to have some outdoor TVs and grilling stations, and we'll have some turf area out here. Some a great area for the tenants. This is just an interior look at the units. And so you've got a kitchen island with a gooseneck faucet. You've got stainless steel appliances, nice custom cabinetry, quartz and granite countertops, pendant lighting, nice flooring. So that's an inside look. This is a snapshot of the site plan. And so you can see the clubhouse in the middle again with the pool. The activity lawn area, the big green space, kind of near the south central portion of the site. And we've got kind of amenities scattered around the site. So you've got a pickleball court on the left side. You've got an exercise trail that goes around the entire site. You've got a dog park and a dog spa kind of on the southern right side of the site. You've got different outdoor fireplace seating and pergolas kind of scattered around. So why this project? So we believe this is going to be a great project. Number one, for the economic impact. This is a high quality housing project. We believe this will bring young professionals to Brandon and a good opportunity. There's a lot of young professionals that live in Flowood and Jackson and also here, but we think this is a great opportunity for Brandon to have more Class A high quality housing. And then this is a part of the overall picture of the master development with Ergon, with retail, restaurants, grocery, and then other future uses. This is just a snapshot of the project timeline since it started. So we've been working on this for a long time. We started the conversation with Ergon and the mayor back in 2021. We rezoned the property back in May of 2024, submitted the plans to the city in August 2025. The city reviewed those plans through March, and then our plan is to start construction next month. And then it takes about 2 years to finish the construction. So we've got March 2028 as a construction completion date. This is just a snapshot of the economic impact. So it's a $50 million investment. It's about $400,000 of annual property taxes, about 300 temporary construction jobs over the 2-year period, 6 permanent jobs, and then obviously increased local spending and sales tax. This is a snapshot of just the other multifamily properties in the area. So you've got 6 on here from Brandon, you've got 3 from Flowood, and then 4 from Jackson. And it just shows occupancy, number of units, the acreage, the units per acre, the year of construction, and then it goes through 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom rents. And so then we've got an average at the bottom. And then we've highlighted our project, The Summit, and how that compares to some of the other properties. We've discussed this, but this is just another just listing of the development site amenities. We'll have a luxury clubhouse with a fitness center, yoga studio, cyber cafe and coffee bar, workrooms, pool table, resort-style swimming pool with sun shelf and grilling terrace with seating, sauna and cold plunge, turf activity lawn with games, cornhole, bocce ball, walking trails, gathering spaces with fire pits, pergola area overlooking the lake, dog park, dog spa, and the pickleball court. And then these are interior unit amenities, gourmet kitchens with quartz countertops, tile backsplash, kitchen islands with pendant lighting, custom cabinetry, stainless steel appliances, balconies, wood design flooring, luxury bathrooms with the glass doors in the master bedroom. So Ergon, I know, has spent $7 million on this project, just putting out infrastructure, the bridge, roads, utilities, earthwork. We see this as an integrated approach with Sullivan's, the retail, the other different restaurants. And so we see the multifamily and all the other pieces connected, helping each other thrive for the long term. I think this is the next phase to kind of get the next 90 acres developed up to I-20. So that's all I've got.
I got a couple of questions. In your initially, several years ago, you said y'all were potentially looking at doing some lofts. Are any of these going to be loft type of things?
Yeah, so it's kind of an interchangeable word between lofts and multifamily. We see this as, this is a lot different product that was built in the 90s and early 2000s that are, I guess, apartments. But we've got the new building codes, and you've got very high-end unit amenities and development amenities that totally changes the feel of a property. And so we call them lofts. I guess you can call them whatever you want. It's a very high-quality multifamily project.
Another question I had, which may be a kind of a moot point. I have a concern about that bridge. That bridge being just two-way traffic. Only one there, one back. I mean, and that's probably nothing to you, but it concerns me that if all this development goes back there, that bridge is going to become a bottleneck. Has anything ever been said about, I mean, that may not be nothing to you, but you build a lot of things back there, and the little bridge is going to be, it's small.
Yeah, I can't speak to the other future developments that are potentially going to go there, but I know for our project we've done a traffic study and they've looked at the traffic flows, and they've looked at the design for the two-way, and they said that there's going to be no issues.
Yeah, I'll speak to that. Nathan went with Ergon. We did a traffic study.
Nathan, if you would, use the microphone.
Yeah.
Are you going to go back to 4 once you cross the bridge?
It's 2 and then it has a turn lane, so it goes from 2 to 3 back to 2, and obviously it depends on what the future development is. But Kaiser Engineering did the traffic study on all of our property based on the assumed usage and recommended that the 2-lane bridge was sufficient for the traffic volumes for the future development. So that's how we ended up with a 2-lane bridge, is from an engineering study.
How do they know that, not knowing what's going back and what kind of traffic counts you're going to have?
It was based on the assumed master plan, which was based on commercial up against 20, mixed-use medical. It was based on the master plan development. So they don't know for a fact what happens, but it was based on the master plan.
And that's in the TIF, right?
Correct. Correct.
So if it generates demand, the city will be the ones to go in there and pay for the other 2 lanes at a later date.
Correct. That's 100% of ad valorem and 50% of sales tax go to the development.
I have a quick question. You mentioned that the development is different than it would have been in the 90s, or the apartments in the 90s and the 2000s. At first glance, it looks very similar to somewhere that I stayed in Oxford in '97. How is it different?
Just going, well, number one, a lot of building codes have changed since then. And number two, just back then, they didn't have all these development and unit amenities that really takes it to the next level of being a really nice development. It's got a really nice tenant base. And as you can see in our rent projections, I mean, this is going to be a very expensive project. And in order to afford it and for it to be successful, you've got to have very high rents to make the numbers work.
Mayor, did you say 100% ad valorem and 50% sales tax?
I think so. We go back and look again, but I believe that's accurate. Mark, you remember anything? I don't remember, but I believe that's accurate, which is the same thing we did at exit 59.
That's correct.
I believe that's the same standard.
You're giving away 100%. You quoted that, whatever, 300,000. You're giving away every bit of that ad valorem for an apartment complex, basically where we are.
Well, it's not just for that, I'm not going to argue with you, but it's not just for that. It's for the commercial property along the interstate. It's, I can already name one restaurant that's going to be there, and there are other things that are going to go in there other than that. And recently we were made aware of the leading 10 ad valorem taxpayers in the city of Brandon. And I believe it was High Point across the road over here. How number of years that thing was built, that is number 2 or 3 on the list of all ad valorem. So, that's a sizable portion of what pays for that TIF that Ergon wants their money back to build that bridge and those roads and water lines and sewer lines. Nate, am I?
Yeah. And that was we have, all that property was in the TIF district. So whatever other development comes on that 90 acres was supported by that road, bridge, and utilities.
And that's for how long? How long is that? The 100% goes away? 10 years?
I don't think it's 10.
It was 10.
Was it 10? Okay. I'll argue.
One thing on...
Mike, I know it sounds
Oh,
crazy.
sorry.
Please, just
Mr.
in
King,
case somebody else
on the
would-
question, I thought Byron's spreadsheet snapshot, this is a 8 unit per acre development. So that, to me, is one thing that is pretty wildly different. And you saw it there, that we're talking about extremely low density for a multifamily development that is, again, a good bit different than most every development that was on that comparison list. So there's a lot of money tied up in building an 8 unit per acre multifamily development.
All right. Any more questions? Okay. We'll turn it over to the commissioner now. This is more of a notification and just to let you know what's going on and the thought processes that are coming. Then this is not a request for rezoning or anything like that. I just want to get the word out. Marcus, this is something you might want to do. Yeah, you want to turn that around so they can see it. There's a slide of what he's doing right there. So go ahead, Commissioner. If you'll just
Thank
take
you,
that,
Mayor.
throw your finger across it.
Oh, the slide right here. Oh, look at that. Wow. All right. Well, thank you. Well, it is great to be back. I wanted to come to this great group of folks and give you an update on where we are on our market complex and something that we have planned this summer to kick it off. There is, as you know, an ongoing plan to develop what I've called the Genuine Mississippi Market Complex. And it's something I've been working on for 3 years. And when I first started working on it, the very first stop I made actually was to this mayor right here. He'll testify to that. And I said, I want to find a place to put a farmer's market. Think of it a farmer's market on steroids. Not only just the farmer's market, but also the packing, the processing, the preparation and distribution of local foods. It's a need that we have. And we have a farmer's market in Jackson, but not many people from Rankin County are going to the farmer's market in Jackson, and our farmers have asked for another venue, another opportunity. And so that's what really began this process 3 years ago. The very first place that I wanted to look was over there by the Rankin County Co-op, because that is a natural, it seemed to me, a natural place. A lot of farmers already trade there. I do myself, in and out of there in the rural area, and very easy access in and off of I-20 and Highway 80 there. So to make a long story short, looking for the right place to do this, of course, you all know we worked with Rankin First and Rankin County to help find a location. And at the time those plans were made, I didn't know, I don't think anybody knew it would be a data center mecca on Highway 18 and right across the highway from this proposed complex. So I think everyone agreed, myself included, it would be the best thing to do to find a more suitable location for something in the nature of a retail farmer's market such as this. So we have worked and we have found such a location. It is off of Highway 80. And what we're proposing, and we have already vetted and gotten the critical mass of farmers who are willing to come and participate in this, not only in the long-term market complex vision that I'll talk about in a minute, but in this year's proposed Genuine Mississippi Farmers Market in Brandon, Mississippi at the Rankin County Co-op. The purpose of this is to bring the farmers now at this proposed location over here at the Rankin County Co-op. I already met with the board, and they have agreed in principle to this. The area in the red outline is where currently gates and panels and cow troughs are stored, and they are willing to move that to the rear and to allow us to have the access right there on the front to serve the people of this good city and county with the best local, fresh, farmer-raised produce and other product. We are proposing to kick it off in May and to follow what is the trend of farmers markets nationwide, to have a seasonal market, which is more or less a farmer forum, a venue, a pop-up market for a few hours on given market days. And those days that we are set to have this are on Fridays and Saturdays at the Rankin County Co-op. I want to tell you our plan is to kick it off during the month of May for one simple reason. There's currently not enough product out there to meet what I expect will be a high consumer demand. We want to kick it off at a time when there's lots of product, lots of farmers participating, and we will run it throughout the growing season, at least through the end of October, possibly extending it through the holiday season for some special events there. But this is gauged is designed to gauge not only farmer interest, which we already have a lot, but also consumer interest and how people will come. In other words, I want people to get used to coming to Brandon, Mississippi to buy direct from farmers, farm-raised produce. And it is important that this particular location is near the new location for the planned market complex. If Claude Nash is with me tonight, Purvey Green, both of them work in our Department of Ag, and both of them have been very involved in this project. And if you could show them you've got it right there, the proposed layout of how this market will look just on market days. So we propose to, we're going to clean it up, make it very nice, make it very pedestrian friendly when people come and shop. And of course, we'll refer them to go to the co-op to buy whatever they need over there and vice versa. And we're proposing to launch it in May at an agreed date and then go through the end of the year, the end of the growing season at least. We proactively reached out to the Brandon Main Street Association to make sure that we wanted them on board with this, and we also want to support their efforts as far as future events in the downtown area, and we'll do that. But the requirement, this is a market like no other in the history of this state. Every member of this farmers market will be a member of the official state program, Genuine Mississippi. That means that the product has to be grown, raised, crafted, or made right here in Mississippi. Genuine Mississippi grown, genuine Mississippi crafted, and you can go to our website at genuinems.com for examples. It'll be the first of its type, and we believe that this co-op location will provide the perfect location for the future development down the road. I talked about the Brandon Main Street Association. We will coordinate and have coordinated farmers that are itching to get here, to be here, and we expect it'll be open on Friday afternoons, although nothing is set in stone at this time. Friday afternoons when people are getting off work, getting ready for the weekend, and lots of people want to buy farm-raised produce, and then Saturdays as well. Now, you've got the map. Do you have any questions about this seasonal market that we're kicking off this summer?
Commissioner,
Yes.
you've made references to this is going to be temporary
Yes.
location. So where is the permanent location? Have you?
Yes, bring the other boards, all right? So we have worked with, of course, that's what the permanent location will look like, but do you have a map of the site plan, Claude, the Highway 80? Okay, well, I've got a picture of it. Here it is. And get several of these. How many we got? Open that baby right there. I think we have enough for everybody to look at. This is a location that is off of Highway 80, just past the co-op. You're familiar probably with Carbonic Drive, which I think is the end of the city limits. And this is a piece of land that is there that has been for sale, and we are in active negotiations in acquiring it. It's a total of 125 acres, but the first 20 acres are where we're proposing this market on the frontage to be. And what we also have, I've been working like a one-armed man in a wood yard to get this done since 2023. What we have today that we did not have back then is a very supportive United States Department of Agriculture Rural Development Division that is excited about this, frankly, and I'm excited to break ground on it. So the idea is for this seasonal market to pop up now, to get people excited, to get people coming, to get our farmers established, and then by the time next year rolls rolls around, they'll be gearing up. We expect and we hope to have more product and more farmers. But as you see, the long-term vision here is to have a place for a pop-up market. That'll be a pop-up on market days market, but also the shops around it for shopping when there are non-market days. And so that is, I know I'm running short of time, that is our overview. I wanted to give you an update on that, and I hope that you'll be as excited about it as I am. Do you have any questions?
So this is temporary, just see, test demand and begin to move in that direction, trying to get the location briefly identified through the year, and we spent some time going here with Joey looking at it. So if you want to give them just an overview of a temporary, there's nothing here, it fits ordinance, and we're not breaking anything.
We're not building buildings or anything. We're just, for this particular growing season, we want to build consumer demand and farmer production. Truck farming,
Yeah, so I concur. That was well said, and like the mayor said, I've looked through it. I don't see anything that's against the ordinance. That the biggest thing was pedestrian safety, ingress and egress, ensuring that it's compatible in the use, which it is in this zone district. And from a temporary standpoint, I would say it's much like the ice skating rink that we do in a temporary setting, right? So it's one of those seasonal. I don't know what else to say about it. It fits,
And what we have agreed to do is to promote it. We promote a lot of great events around the state and around what we do at the fairgrounds and other places. So we'll be promoting it and making sure people know they can come shop on these market days there. Yep. And meanwhile, we're working toward this vision, and I'm really excited about that for the long term. So thank y'all. Anything else for me, Mayor, Board?
No, question?
All right.
All right.
Thank you so much. We'll stay in touch, and we'll make sure you are informed. That map is a site plan that has been done by Neil Schaefer for that particular location. And if I could get those copies, well, you can. I guess you can keep them. You can keep them. It's fine. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Y'all come see us at the farmers market. All right. Thank y'all.
All right, board, it is 5:56. We're going to start our board meeting at 6, and then when I get into a few other informational things, I'll try to breeze through the sales tax stuff and make sure we're all aware of that. So we'll stop right now. I got some folks coming in from the hallway, and we'll start promptly in 4 minutes.
Now, that's not...
Commissioner? Come on, do it. Now, we are waiting on one more commissioner supposed to be here, but you're going to lead the way, all right?
All right.
If you would lead us in prayer, and I'm going to lead us in the pledge.
Wonderful. Let's pray together. Lord, we thank you again for the privilege to be here tonight. Thank you, Lord, for the work of this group of aldermen and the mayor and all the city leaders here in Brandon. We pray a special blessing over this city, over this community, over its future. And Lord, we thank you for Rankin County and for our great state of Mississippi. We pray that tonight these proceedings will be diligent and discerning. And Lord, we pray you'd give wisdom for every decision and discussion that'll be had. And Lord, we pray it'll be the decisions that'll be in the best interest of the people, not only of this city, but of this entire area. And we'll be careful to give you all the glory for it. Lord, we thank you for what you have done and what you're going to do. And we ask it all in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Amen and amen. If you would, turn and face the flag. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. All right, audience, take a little privilege here. I need to work through some other sales tax report that I need to give the board as we begin. Board, as I've told you many times, Tracy and I spend a lot of time together as finance director, and in that job, you spend half of the year worrying about budget and the other half of the year worrying about audit. And I walked into that office last week and said, "Where's my audit?" It's the end of March. And she said, "Well, technically, you don't have to have it by the end of June." And that's not good enough for us. So we want it before the end of June, and we're going to get it. But getting pulled in a lot of directions, and sales tax is one that I know you've heard me talk about before, and I'm going to share some numbers with you that are troubling. I can't think of a better word to describe that other than troubling. Can you hear me in the back of the room? David, can you hear me? Okay. All right. Don't mean to yell at anybody. Okay, if I can get this thing to work. All right, so spent some time, Tracy spent some time, we've done a lot, and I'm going to share everything we have, and we can continue this. We will continue this discussion as we move into budgeting and how we move forward in the year ahead. All right, that's going the wrong way. All right, so looking at March of this year compared to March of last year, you see our general sales tax is down 9%. Restaurant tax, otherwise known as a 2% tax, otherwise known as the tourism tax, is down by 8%. And our hotel is increased by 8, even though that's a small number. Don't get hung up on that, but it is helpful now that we have 2 hotels in town that people can stay at that are nice. Y'all have seen these before. I can generate, built this years ago with Liz, and we maintained it. I can go back to 2013 and generate a document that looks like this and show you the numbers coming forward. It's how we gauge against what the year before was, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and generally we go back 2 years and use that number at the end of the year to budget for the following year. So we try to be conservative in our budgeting. So we, for instance, we'll go back to 23, 24 and use that number as what we budgeted against for this year. So that's worked well for us, and we need to continue doing that. So I gave you a page. It's got yellow and green on it. Thank you, Ms. Tracy, for making that for me today. There's some keys in there that you need to see. So when the legislature last year lowered the grocery tax, they left general sales tax at 18.5%, and they lowered the grocery tax on a lot of items in the grocery store. Well, to make up for that, they came up with a formula to keep, I'm going to say it a dozen times over, to keep municipalities whole. To keep municipalities whole. So they increased on some of those items to 25%, thinking that would make up the difference. And I'm here to tell you, after this review, I know that you're going to agree with me that the formula needs to be tweaked. And I don't know how we're going to do that. I'm going to try to champion something through MML encompassing as many of the cities in the state of Mississippi as I can to show that that formula is detrimental to municipalities. It's hurting us. And the question is, how much? So I've made some projections here. Your mouth's probably going to fall open, but that's okay. We're good. But a lot of cities, this is going to put in harm's way that are not as conservative as we are, if you would. Down at the bottom, you see another paragraph. It says, for instance, they can go back 3 years. They find an error. So when we were working through this, Tracy will admit, found a McDonald's on Spillway Road was actually keyed into the city of Brandon, much like Kroger was, in 2013, 2012. And they have 3 years to recoup that money. Now, what that means is they don't come to us and ask for a check. What they do is they take that out of next month's diversion. So they'll take pieces of it out going forward. Does that make sense? That's how they recoup those dollars. Kind of difficult to figure out exactly what dollars they're recouping because we never know what those sales were. Just 100% trust. The second little circle down at the bottom is if a municipality finds an error and reports that to DOR, then they will only go back 1 year. So it's going to set us up for having to monitor every business every year. And I guess that's part of what this is about. We're trying to get a little bit of that problem off of them and onto us. And I can't say that we shouldn't be doing that anyway, but still we don't have all the information we need to make adequate decisions. So, you know, we'll work through this. We've got processes that we've talked about, and we'll have to do better going forward. So we did a deep dive into this. I shared that with you in February. I think our sales tax was down 22%. I'm fixing to show you that. And that was the only thing I could find. And we did a deep dive using our water meter accounts, using every address we could find, using just right them down the line. And I have to admit, at the end, except for 1 or 2 outliers, basically DOR was right. So I couldn't argue they were wrong. So then what's going on with our sales tax? So 7% sales tax. If you go back and look just in those yellow squares you see, last year was the first time that I've seen since 2013 or even before that, that since I've been tracking it, our sales tax was down 1.5% year over year. Year over year. Okay, well, the economy tweaks sometimes, things happen, that kind of stuff. They changed the grocery tax a little bit, you know, and you wouldn't think that would be that astronomical that it would hit you. But if you look up in December here, which is minus 22% on that chart that you're looking at, which was the sales tax that was collected in October. You collect it 1 month, you remit it to DOR the next month, it comes back to the municipality in the 3rd month. So you can begin to see all those negatives that are falling in there. So what's going to happen if those negatives keep falling in on us? So I began to project that. So we look at, this is another little graph off to the side that we keep, and I calculated $619,553 is the average of those other 6 months that you see in here. And I just plugged those in. See there, average, 619,553. Well, if that proves out to be true, then we're going to be off $1 million when we get to September 30 on general sales tax for the city of Brandon for this fiscal year 25. So let me show you how that looks. So if I plugged in that number on the left over there, and it's green, and you add it all up and come down to the bottom, we're going to be off almost 12% and over $1 million if those numbers are true. I'm not yelling, I'm not running in here, little chicken saying the sky is falling or anything like that. We've got adequate resources behind us and savings to weather that storm to get into the next FY. But this is going to cause us, as we get to August and September before we set the budget, we're going to have to tighten somewhere. Something's got to make up the difference. So we'll be thinking in those terms as we go forward. So if you look at the bottom down there, you see all those green squares. Well, that just shows you general sales tax year over year over year, 1, 2, 3, 4 years there leading up to last year when we had a down year of 1.5%. Positive growth, positive growth, positive growth, positive growth. Our population's going up, people moving here, and people traveling here, so it only makes sense that you would see that growth. And all of a sudden it begins to turn south a little bit. And if it continues that, then it's going to turn south a long way. We just got to be ready to make that up. So we finally found somebody at DOR that can speak English to us a little bit, Ms. Tracy said. And we don't know definitive numbers, and she can't tell us definitive numbers. The state legislature this year did pass a law. Hopefully the governor will sign that, creating a, Mr. Baker, you might want to chime in here and help me, creating a, it's not an ad hoc, it's a bureau or something to work specifically with municipalities to answer questions and dig into why things are and why things are not. Is that a good way to say that?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay. So that's been long needed, and municipalities have asked for that for a long time. All right, so our 2% tax. So you see its growth. You see how it goes. We track it the same way, year over year over year. You got the same numbers I'm going to show you. If you plugged in 150, I was a little conservative there because last year was 160 average. This year is 150. So I plugged in 150 for a 12-month average, and you can see we're going to be off. We're going to be off about what? Oops, going the wrong way again. Going to be off what? Going this way. Yep, there it is. So it'll be off 6%. So that 6% would be reflective of $123,000. But you look back over time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and you don't see anything but growth. So has the economy tightened that much to where people aren't buying gas? I don't know if that's all of it. Have people, which I've long maintained this, are more people shopping online? They're shopping online, having it delivered to the house. I don't know where it's coming from. But that goes back to that Infrastructure Modernization Act that the House was great to pass some years ago, and maybe that needs to get tweaked. But I asked this question broadly, Mark and I going back and forth, is this just the city of Brandon or is it statewide? Now, I've interacted with a lot of mayors, and it's statewide. So Tracy was kind enough. Again, we're eating her time up doing this when we need to be working on the audit and a variety of other things. But here's a good December, January, February of 2026. Out of 309 municipalities, 189 or 61% of them decreased. So it's every municipality in the state basically is decreasing. Now, you know, you got municipalities out here that are, I think the smallest in the state, the town is Shatasha. I can't remember what's the population of Shatasha? 32, something like that. But this is from top to bottom, all over the state. So we have an internal group in MML of the top 25 cities. That's where the majority of the population is at, and I'm going to be challenging those 25. I think we all need to come together and do a deep dive audit and forensic study of this, because we as municipalities are going to have to prove to the legislature that formula is in error. There's no other way. I mean, you've got a very strong gentleman in Ways and Means, and Trey is, you know, it's going to have to be exact and right before the next legislative session, before they'll tweak that. So if they tweak it, if we're able to generate an argument that it needs to be improved to make municipalities whole. I've listened to it for a year and a half now. Municipalities are going to be made whole. Well, I'm showing you the municipalities are not being made whole. So it's going to be incumbent on us to prove what it's going to take for them to go into the legislative session next year to make municipalities whole. There you go. So, all right, I want to get that across to you. You got that. We'll be talking more and more about that as we move to budget time, which will begin in May. So budget time, we'll begin preparations in May and work from there. All right. So we'll begin our board meeting. Thank you for our audience for being patient and listening to that. Is anyone here this evening that would like to make public comment or speak to the board on any matter before we begin the agenda? All right. Seeing none, board, we will begin to navigate our way through this agenda. Board, you got any comments, questions? Hope you all had a great Easter. He is risen, and thank you, Jesus, for being with us. All right, a couple of informational topics that I want to share with you real quick. I am happy to report that we have received another congressional award for $1 million. I was notified by Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith's office for that. That was something that we asked for. Trying to remember, Matthew, I think we asked for $5 million on Highway 80 East 4 years ago, and all of a sudden this falls out of the sky and hits us. We've got until 2029 to use that on Highway 80 East. That would be from Trickham Ridge Road to the interstate. Glad to see that. We'll begin to work on that. Number 2, legislative projects award. Once the governor signs that, what you looking for, Mark? Okay. We were awarded $750,000 for projects, or 3 or 4 places that could go to that are being built. One I would say would be Highway 80 East and downtown. Another would be Highway 80 West, and another would be Grants Ferry out there to help. We've got $4.5 million sitting there. We need some more funding for that. It could go to that. And we've also asked for more funding through MPO for that section from Highway 80 to Trickham Bridge Road, that short section in there. So we'd like to get to work on that to expend that $4.5 million. Clock's ticking on it. And then, of course, the last one that we're all happy about is within this, the Senate came up with $5 million and the House came up with $5 million. And we now have that $10 million the county does, and we're good to go on that. We've got our commitment on that. The county has a commitment, so now it's just a matter of wait and see what happens with the grant to get the bridge. So it's all hinged on that. We'll see where that shakes out. If not, we'll back up and punt and figure something else out. But that $10 million will sit there for that bridge because that's what it was dedicated for. Doesn't matter if it's 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, that's where it will sit. There seemed like there was one more that I didn't get on this list. Yes, the number 4 on here that I wasn't able to get on here. Last board meeting we had did a resolution on behalf of Avio to talk about audience. We'll probably be having a town hall meeting kind of thing, catching enough static about data centers, how bad they are, gloom and doom and that kind of thing. And we passed a resolution here to use the wastewater from the wastewater treatment plant, so we're not tying into our aquifer. Great thing. That's a great idea, and we need to make it happen. It took a resolution by this board and understanding of that. It took a resolution understanding of the West Rankin Utility Authority Board. We met this afternoon. That was an event in and of itself, getting at all the way through the legislature. Mr. Baker here giving some accolades, and Senator Josh Harkins, and our House guys, Fred Shanks, and Lee Yancey, and Senator Dean Kirby. Those really, that combination got it through. It was the last bill passed by the House Saturday morning, the last one. So now it's on the governor's desk, and I've interacted with the governor, asking him to keep an eye out, and so we're very hopeful on that. So we don't want them draining our aquifers, and that's what that's about. So I thought you'd be interested to know that. All right, so we're going to the board meeting now. So let's see here. The Keither Stamps was supposed to have been here tonight. Shame, shame, shame. Maybe we'll get him next time. 2 demerits. Skip over that. I'm on to D, approve the work session and regular board meeting minutes of March 16th, 2026.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Sharon Womack, second Mr. Jerry Crane. Any question on those? All in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. See y'all later.
Yes, sir. All right, under the mayor, consideration to adopt an order proclaiming April as Fair Housing Month. Number 2, consideration to approve a travel request for Georgiana Keatum to attend the Welcome Home Mississippi Spring Managers Meeting in South Haven, Mississippi on May 14th and 15th. Number 3, consideration to adopt the phrase, "the true spirit of the South," as the official city slogan in conjunction with the preparation of the city's bicentennial. And 4, consideration to approve pay request number 2 from Gilbert Construction Company, LLC, in the amount of $367,415.35 for the Civic Center Big Room Renovation Phase 2, and authorize payment of the same. 4 items. Board, any question on those?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Jerry Crane, second by Ms. Sharon Womack. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Yes, ma'am.
On the construction with the big room, how much more do we lack on that?
I do have, we're going to bring it up. Give me just a second. How much more do we have? That's an open-ended question now. On this particular phase?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I actually have a change order. I didn't put it on the agenda because I didn't want to change your agendas. If the board's subject to, I'll need a vote to add this to the agenda if you want to act on it. It is basically $17,000 worth of work on 7 things, using the contingency funding in there. That would reduce that to $6,837 is what's remaining, using the contingency money. Those items are relocate some of the kitchen equipment, just didn't work where they put the ice machine and things like that. Electrical egress lighting and approaching enclosure. Number 3 was $2,500. Remove existing concrete section at the enclosure, which is a big concrete block there by the back door. Next thing was electrical work at loading dock sump pump. We need to finally hardwire that thing in to where it's isn't plugged in by an extension cord, for those of you who've been back there. Next one is steel supports for the big room stage. There are 2 lift points where chain motors go on the stage. We missed those, and when we did the plans to begin with, they need to be brought out in front since we brought the stage out. The last go around in phase 1, that's what hangs the speakers on. That needs to go up. They've got a change order there for $9,000 for that. And electrical work in the big room ceiling, that's to wire those up. So you add all that up, it comes to $17,408, and using contingency money of $10,570, that will reduce all that work, if you wanted to go ahead and act on this tonight, to $6,837.32. So we can postpone that to the next board meeting, or we can add it to the agenda and tell them to get to work. Okay. It's all in there. It's a whole packet. It's all in there. That's all right. It'll wait till next time. All right. Questions? Any other questions? So you got about, what I say? If you haven't been back there, board, I'd encourage you to go back there to that kitchen. It's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely great back there. So it really puts us at a different level here. All right, Marianne?
Good evening, everyone. May I take these together?
Yes, ma'am.
Consideration to approve professional services agreements for the purposes of promoting tourism in accordance with House Bill 1521 and other lawful and related purposes. Authorize the mayor to execute the same and approve payment of all show-related expenditures. 415 Touring Inc., FSO Mammoth and City of Brandon, Bush Inc., FSO Bush and City of Brandon, James and the Cold Gun in City of Brandon. Number 2, consideration to approve Brandon Amphitheater's sponsorship agreements for the 2026 concert season and authorize the mayor to execute the same for the following sponsors: Bob Boyd Honda, C-Spire, Merit Health, Mississippi Lottery Corporation, Mosquito Authority, RCC Roofing and Construction. Number 3, consideration to accept the fiscal year 2025 continuing disclosure statement prepared by Butler Snow and to pay their invoice of $3,000. Number 4, consideration to approve a renewal of the MuniCode Civic Plus supplement subscription and the agenda meetings management annual fee. Number 5, consideration to approve a merchant agreement with Payment Tech LLC and JP Morgan Chase Bank regarding the ticketing merchant account at the amphitheater and to allow the mayor to sign the said agreement. Number 6, Consideration to transfer one 2023 Lexus RX VIN number from general government to amphitheater. Number 7, consideration to approve the docket of claims, the Fox Everett claims, and the electronic fund transfers.
Done? You say you need to? All right. Just a second.
So the merchant agreements,
Yes.
what is that? I thought we did the community bank on the credit cards. Is this something else, Tracy?
This is with the amphitheater to get the credit card processing machines, EMV compatible.
Okay, so it doesn't have anything to do with the charging or anything like that? Gotcha.
All right. Is there a motion to approve those 7 items? Motion by Mr. Lou Coker. Who said that? Second by Mr. Chris Benson. Any further discussion or question? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Thank you. All right, Charlie. You can go to that one. It works.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I only have one. Consideration to approve a rental agreement from RJ Young for a copier, state contract number 82000800135 in the Event Services Department, and authorize the mayor to execute the same.
Thank you. Motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Harry Williams, second by Mr. Chris Benson. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Thank you, Charles. All right, where you want to break it? Mr. Baker says roll all the way through. That's all right. We'll come back to them.
Okay. So roll through and we'll come back.
That's correct.
Good evening, Mayor, Board. All right. 1, consideration to approve the reorganization of the Facilities Department to fall under the administrative oversight of the Public Works Department, and authorize the mayor to execute any administrative actions necessary to implement this change. 2, consideration to approve a professional service agreement with Hedderman Brothers Incorporated for the monthly utility printing services, and authorize the mayor and the city clerk to execute the same. 3, consideration to approve the professional service agreement with Cleo's Asphalt for paving and asphalt repair services pursuant to the memo, and authorize the mayor to execute the same. 4, consideration to approve financing terms from Community Bank for the purchase of one Timco Model 600 regenerative air street sweeper, and for the mayor to execute the same. A second option was solicited, but they declined to provide a quote. 5, permission to allow the following Public Works employees to attend the 2026 water certification course in Biloxi: Cole Rowland and Samuel Bagnegi. 6, consideration to approve the purchase of one 2026 Ford F-350 crew cab chassis truck in the amount of $59,244.20 from Great Daniels Auto Group, and authorize payment of the same. 7, consideration to approve the purchase of one truck bed for the aforementioned truck in the amount of $13,458 from Lewis Trailer Sales, and authorize payment of the same. 8, consideration to declare an emergency the grinder pump repairs at 311 West Sunset Drive, and approve invoice number 8133 in the amount of $5,350 from Harvey Services Incorporated. 9, consideration to award the bid in the amount of $3,593,000 to Grinder Drilling Service for the Star Road Water Well Project. This is the lowest and best bid received. 10, consideration to approve change order from Valdez Pavement Solutions, change order number 1, Valdez Pavement Solutions, at an increase of $24,026.74 in the project cost for the Felicity Street sidewalk improvements pursuant to the memo, and authorize the mayor to execute the same. 11, consideration to award the quote in the amount of $54,978.70 to Valdez Pavement Solutions for the 2026 Downtown Pedestrian Handrails Project as the lowest and best quote received. 12, consideration to approve change order 1 from Jose Sierra Construction at an increase of $8,775 for the Rain Tree Drainage Improvements Project and authorize the mayor to execute the same. 13, consideration to approve change order 1 from Red Oak Construction LLC at an increase of $133,116.25 in the project costs for the Highway 18 Waterline Extension Project, Star Road to West Sunset Drive. 14, consideration to approve the utility adjustment approvals and denials pursuant to the memo. 15, consideration to accept the conveyance of .87 acres of land on West Sunset Drive from Rankin First and authorize the filing of the attached special warranty deed with Rankin County. 16, permission to allow Benchmark Engineering to develop plans and advertise for bid the Highway 80 East Roadway and Sidewalk Improvements Project, which would run from Trickham Bridge Road to Shiloh Parkway. 17, consideration to declare an emergency the sewer line and sewer manhole excavation near and behind 358 West Government Street.
All right, Mr. Baker, got a couple of questions for you. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking on your memos on your change orders,
Yes.
but I'm not seeing the language that the statute, I mean, the change order needs to be that the changes or modifications to the original contract are necessary or would better serve the purposes of the agency or the governing authority, and the changes pertaining to construction are necessary under the circumstances without the necessity for the bid, provided that such change shall be made in a commercially reasonable manner, shall not be made to circumvent the public purchasing statutes. All that needs, I'm not really, am I missing that? Because I'm hearing that I'm not seeing that this is necessary, or, I mean, I'm sure it's just not put in there, but are we looking at those memos close to make sure all that information is in there for these change orders?
Yes, I mean,
I just ask that you go back and just,
yeah.
let's go back and take a look.
They are necessary, and I can make those adjustments to the memos.
Okay. And also with regard to the emergency repairs on the pump, what was wrong with it wasn't known before we took it to the place, right? I mean, once they took it apart, they realized the problem.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bigger grinder pump.
We need to kind of have that show in the memo that, we didn't know what was wrong with it, and they took it apart. That's what the outside equipment repair statute requires, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Jim? Jim?
And yet, for the purchase of the air street sweeper, I see that there's a, in the memo, there were different terms, 3, 4, and 5 years. I think the 4 years is what was recommended, and it was somewhere around $300,000 or something like that. I guess the question that I have is, what's a street sweeper is going to be used for sweeping the streets? Are we looking for after parades, things like that? I mean, the general.
Yes, so it will be used after our big parade events, big downtown events, but what I intend to do is start something that we currently don't use our street sweeper for because it's not reliable enough, and I believe this new one is, but a constant, ward-to-ward curb and gutter street sweeping program where we keep this thing on the road and we keep these streets clean and free of debris. It also allows us to clean out our gutter inlets. Right now, we're hydrovacuuming them down. This one has a much larger vacuum on it, so I mean, just the efficiency alone. But the intent is to start a regular street sweeping maintenance program citywide. We're in desperate need. Every time we bring our current machine out, it breaks.
Okay. Well, I guess where I was going with that was looking for the funding on that. As you mentioned that possibly sales tax is going to be off quite a bit. Estimates of the sales tax was 2%, what, $100,000, and other taxes about $1 million. Is this a pertinent purchase? Absolutely, right now. Two, I guess where I was going with the parade route thing, is there any chance that we could use some of those 2% funds that we actually have in the bank for that, since it could be used after entertainment purposes necessarily? And then I guess the third question I had was, are we able to, and this may be for you, Tracy, are we able to just buy this thing outright instead of putting ourselves into debt for the next 4 years?
Right, we are not able to buy this outright. Where it was budgeted is the sanitation department or the sanitation fund, and we're not able to sustain buying a $334,000 street sweeper. I mean, the goal is to, of course, finance it with the 4 years, with anticipating paying it off early, and of course reducing the interest expense that we incur. So as of right now, that is the plan presented.
Okay, and you feel comfortable with taking on the extra burden of about $8,000 a month with the sales tax projection being what it is?
Well, I mean,
You just paid one off, I believe.
we did, and we did.
I don't know what the payment on it was, but I'm just saying.
Right, in that one, we did pay off early. I think altogether it was maybe close to 20. It was a lot more than this monthly payment.
Mm-hmm.
So either we can finance it now and with the anticipation of paying it off early as cash flow, gets sorted out, or we'll just have to bid it back out in another 6 months and maybe we'll get a lower bid.
I doubt we get a lower bid, but, we could budget, for a lump sum, bid it back out.
Can I say something? Sure. This is desperately needed in Cross Gates, and you know it.
Yes.
We've had a bad year. The gutters are full, water's going across roads, Lee's, Pine Straw, and Jeremy, don't mean it wrong.
Yep.
It's a major thing in Cross Gates.
I believe you. Just after hearing the funding issue, so to speak, I was just had some concerns here.
The interest that we would pay throughout the loan, if we paid it just monthly throughout 4 years, is about $36,000. If we cut it back to 2 years and paid it off early, that we would have about $18,000 only of interest. And then if we just made extra payments, just say 7 or 8 payments extra a month, we would drop off 1 year and have it paid off in 3 years and save $12,000 in interest. So I mean, we're looking at those, of course, those options to reduce the interest that we pay.
All right, and 2% funds are not can't be used for this?
No, 2% funds would not be able to be used.
Okay, thanks. That answers my questions. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Do we ever seek a leasing arrangement on equipment like this? We ever looked at that?
Yes, we have. There's a couple of different options. With lease, you have to make a lump payment yearly, and then there's lease purchase buyback. So I entertained all that before I went the traditional financing route, and I discussed it with Tracy, and either we pay they basically bust the payment across 3 years. So you take that $330,000 divided by 3, and in that final year they would do a buyback.
I think you have
option.
you have a about option of I think it was $180,000 after you've already paid 3 years plus interest on it. So I mean, it's
so that is an option, but
it's not really
put up
feasible.
more money. We put up about 100 and some odd thousand.
Thank you for exploring that option.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I have one for 14, some changes to the wording of the memo for the approvals or denials pursuant to the memo.
Okay, some actual changes to the memo itself that I wrote?
Pursuant to the memo, number 14. I was just wondering how that, what does that do? What does that change for us?
So those are adjustments that are filed throughout the previous board meeting. That's residents in the city. That's you all accepting whether we deny or approve. We have to bring them in front of you with our recommendation one way or another. And so there's probably over 100 in there. I don't know. There's normally several, but that allows you, gives the board an opportunity to look at those adjustments and determine if, they're warranted.
Okay, so, but we're kind of doing the same thing we're already doing. Is there anything changing? Because it seems like we're looking at those, or they're in there for us to peruse to some degree or another.
Yeah, we're not changing it, so, what's the question, Jerry? I'm lost here.
Is there a process change or something like that? How does the changing of that memo affect us? I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out, it says that will be brought forward, evidence-based, brought forth, we'll get to see it more or less, but I feel like we kind of do that already.
Well, what we're doing here, I'm sorry.
Sure, I just don't understand what it is, I guess.
Well, you have a policy.
Yes.
That the Public Works Department can consider whether or not utility adjustments are required, are warranted, for whatever reason.
Yes.
And so the Public Works Department has reviewed the requests for utility adjustments.
Yep.
And what they're sending you is what they say should be, what they're saying, number one, are consistent with your policy.
Sure.
And number two, the ones that they're recommending be approved, and the ones that are recommending be denied.
Right.
Because they don't ultimately have the authority to do that. And so they're just presenting this to you and asking you to approve what they've done. And if you see one on there that you think that they said should be denied, that you want to reconsider being approved for whatever reason, then they would go back and evaluate that one inconsistent with the policy or something like that. So really it's an FYI because your constituents are on these lists and probably are going to ask you. But more to the point, you may see one that you don't necessarily, every now and then you see one that you may question and go, wait a minute, why aren't we giving Ms. Smith what's going on here that we need to look at? Because I don't think that's exactly right, for whatever reason.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep, that makes better sense. It seems like that kind of process is already there for the most part.
It's 90% administrative.
Right.
But you may find that you may find at some point that your public works director is taking a view of the policy or an interpretation of the policy that you don't agree with.
Right.
And then, so that's why we present those.
All right. Thank you. That clears that up. I appreciate it.
And you're also, part of doing that is making a finding that those that have been approved did not receive the benefit of the service and it was unforeseen. Those are the two elements that we're saying in this. So they're telling you as
pursuing our policy. Right.
The ones that have been approved are consistent with your policy, that the consumer did not receive the benefit of the service and that the problem appears to have been unforeseen.
Gotcha. Thank you. I just needed the clarification. When I was reading it, I didn't quite understand it. I didn't feel comfortable voting one way or the other when I didn't.
At some point, somebody will come back and look at them, and you'll have it all in the minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I have a couple of.
Okay, go ahead, Sharon.
I have a couple of questions. Okay, Alex, water was turned off today at in Sunchase
Yes.
for the hydrant replacement. Were the residents notified of that?
No, we did let Protel know, the call center, that it was out. It was only supposed to be out less than an hour. I believe it was out a little over an hour, right at close to 2.
Mm-hmm.
So we do modify that to the Protel call center, but if it's out for, and I'd have to review longer than a certain amount or causes what we believe will, cause, if the chlorine's not in the water long enough, you could have issues, then we'll alert longer. We'll do an actual public posting of some sort. But outside of social media, there's really no other way to quickly alert the public. And I guess we can do that now quickly, Mayor? Yeah.
Boil water alert is needed, yes.
Yeah, if it's a boil water alert, if it gets to the point of a boil water alert, we do alert the public. But this was a fire hydrant replacement. We were already prepped for it. It took a little bit longer than we intended, but the health department only requires that we alert the public, if it causes a boil water alert. I think it is good practice to alert those constituents, and there's software out there for that. But I think right now our best course of action is to use social media.
Because I'm sure we knew before, right when we had to do it, that we were going to be doing it, I guess.
Right.
And, you know, I would think we could at least just put something out there in the future make it a habit to put something on social media.
Okay.
Because, I mean, we knew, even if you put it out there, at 8 o'clock this morning, even though it wasn't going to happen until 2, I don't know exactly what time it happened.
Right.
But I got calls about it.
Yeah.
And because, just to let them know. Then I have a question, and Mayor, this may be.
I can make that happen.
I got something to say.
Number 16. This is for the Highway 80 East roadway and sidewalk improvement. Is this what that money was you just talked about from the legislature?
Yes, that would say, we've got seed money there, if you call $1 million seed money to begin something. And the original thought, Matthew and I, I'm looking for him, where is he at in the room? He and I have gone back and forth with trying to get from Tricker Bridge Road through Shiloh Parkway, if that's possible. I don't know how much more money it'll take to do that, but that'd be a good phase to get through that intersection. Huh?
I think it's Shiloh Park.
Shiloh Parkway.
Shiloh Parkway. Okay, so we don't know what that's going to cost total yet or anything? Okay, we're still looking into it. Okay.
Yep. All right, just to finish up with a couple of things, Jeremy, Tracy and I talked after you called, and you've got to be careful about mixing funds. In other words, we don't want to turn into a sister city, and the board knows this, but you don't take from over here to pay it over here. That money will come out of the, and I recommend going ahead with this. We put off buying that street sweeper for a long time. If you look at all the rocks in the intersections, is one of the things that gets me. It's just, we got to start policing ourselves up. We put it off year after year after year. But if you take money out of the general fund, you're hurting something else. And you've got the Infrastructure Modernization Act, that money is dedicated to those things. You got drug seizure fund, that money's dedicated to that. And the 2% fund is dedicated to tourism. So unless it's really specific, I know you're trying to reach out and figure out a way to clean up after a parade, but that's kind of last thing, and I'll be quiet. Hey, Alex, you really didn't explain this well. You talked about a big hose and all that. Board, you've got for lack of a better word, it's a manhole. It's not a manhole on top of a storm drain. If you start looking at storm drains, they're full of leaves and everything else. That truck is strong enough to take all that out of that box, out of that inlet.
Yeah, what my staff currently does is actually enters the box.
Right.
If it's deep enough. This has a large 8-inch hose that is powerful enough to suck out all the debris.
So cross gates need,
and a pressure washer.
This thing's needed all over the city. So my recommendation is to board is to finance it, and we'll try to pay it off early. We're going to have to go into the next year when we get into the audit. We're going to have to slide some more money into the sanitation fund, probably $500,000 or something like that.
Right. I did run some numbers on moving a mill to go to the sanitation, so that would be something we could look at budget time.
I hope not a mill, but we'll figure it out. Okay.
Motion to approve, second.
Thank you for all the conversation. All right. Motion by Mr. Harry Williams. Who did second? Dave was here. Any further comment, question?
Yeah, I just wanted to
go ahead.
Add something, piggyback kind of off of what Sharon was said. Alex, if you could just try our best to notify our constituents as we're turning off water. I do believe in operations, and I know some things are scheduled and some things are emergencies, and emergencies and scheduled work will be different. So just try our best to kind of notify when we're shutting the water off.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Everybody say yes. All right. Where are we at, Joey? Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Gray here?
No.
Neither here. Well, she was coming for the vote. Mayor, I don't think you voted, but did you?
All right. Thought we did. I had 7-0. Oh, all right, so we got a motion by Harry, second by David, all in favor of those 17 items?
Aye.
Say aye. All opposed, like sign, thank you. Just to be on the double sign, thank you. Don't have
Good
too many
evening.
items next time, you won't confuse us all. Quit working so hard.
All right, I'm just going to test it 1 through 4 together, or do we want to take these individual?
I think I'd like to take one separately there.
Okay. And the public hearing, of course, separately, right?
Okay.
So you want to do 2 through 3, or just do them in order, Mayor?
I'll just go ahead and take one, you got a
Okay.
request, just take one by itself, just go ahead, let's get that one going.
All right, number 1, consideration to approve a development review application for the Summit Project, case number 25-030. I'm taking it separately, so you want me to read them all or at first?
No, I think I'd like an up or down vote on that one before we
Okay,
move
fair.
forward.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve that development request?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lou Coker. Second, Mr. David Ferris. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign.
I'll say nay.
All right. Okay, go on to 2, 3. Well, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead and take them 2, 3, 4 all the way.
Yes, sir. Number 2, consideration to accept the resignation of Colton Wolford as Code Enforcement Officer effective April 10th, 2026. Number 3, consideration to set a public hearing for May 4th, 2026 regarding a conditional use permit application submitted by NOLA Way Package, LLC, DBA, TJ's Fine Wine and Liquor, to allow a retail package store at 237 Orleans Way, Suite D. This is case number 26017. And number 4, consideration to approve the final plat for 8020 Enterprises, LLC, case number 26019.
All right, board 2, 3, 4. Motion by Mr. Harry Williams, second by Mr. Lou Coker. Oh, that's fine. Go ahead, yes.
On the number 4, does the property owner understand what your committee has put forward regarding how that property may be looked at in the future?
Well, I don't want to speak for understanding, but Mr. David's up here if you would like to come speak to that. But it was discussed that this is just a subdivision for the immediate sale with no improvements. There's no approved developments. This is just for approval to, he wanted to follow process. So our development ordinance, section 1616, requires any subdivision of more than 2 or more parcels require a plat approval. He can skip the preliminary plat per that ordinance because he's intending no improvement. So it's just a subdivision for the immediate sale of that home, from my understanding, David. He's shaking his head yes. But he understands that there's no other approval other than that, so. Yes, sir.
All right, other questions? I got a motion by Mr. Harry Williams, second by Mr. Lou Coker. Any further discussion or question? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Thank you, board. All right.
All right, number 5, sir?
Yeah.
Number 5, public hearing, request to open a public hearing and consideration to adopt the comprehensive zoning ordinance and official zoning map.
All right. Mr. Director, can you advise the board as to whether the prerequisites of the public hearing have been met?
Yes, sir.
Was the matter presented to the Planning Commission?
It was.
What was the recommendation of the Planning Commission?
They recommended the mayor and board approve as presented.
As presented. And with regard to this matter, did your office prepare a staff report?
We did, yes, sir.
Are you asking that the staff report, together with any exhibits and attachments thereto, be appended to the minutes of this public hearing?
We are.
Okay. Would you give the board the general, just go over what's in the staff report if you would right now, and then we'll move on to the next phase?
Sure. So in the staff report, the proposal is a comprehensive zoning ordinance and official zoning map adoption. The draft is intended to reorganize, clarify, and modernize some of the zoning regulations. One of the bigger ones is to revise district names, use classifications, and development standards. We've already updated administrative procedures in the previous March 16th board meeting, but that's included in this also, just a carryover. The clean draft ordinance is, of course, the controlling document for this adoption.
Okay, take your time. So were you speaking of the zoning text, or were you speaking of the zoning map, the proposed map at that, when you were just speaking?
Both.
Okay.
Both, Mark, yeah.
Are there any particular issues or information that you'd like to share with regard to the text amendments generally? I know you've talked about them generally, but is there anything in particular that you'd like to point out to the board and the audience?
One of the bigger ones, I guess, is the proposal to step back from the T&D district, to sunset that, if you will. In order to change districts, it is required to update that text as well. I guess another big one to mention is that the current RR district, the intent is to create 3 different classifications of the low density, which is the RE 21, RE 32, and RE 43 districts. That's half acre, 3/4 acre, and 1 acre. So again, the map from a major standpoint has changed. Once you pull back the T&D district, you have to rezone it to something, and so that is the major intent, also with an emphasis on developments as it relates to density. So.
Okay. And when you say sunset T&D, can you generally explain for the board and the audience what you mean by that?
Yes, sir. Sunset in this context means to completely remove it from our existing ordinance.
Okay. And with regard to T&D property in the city that is currently developed and improved, what's the plan for that property, those properties?
Now, they'll have vested rights, so the master plan would govern, right? And effectively, any approved T&D or PUDs would effectively become a PUD. The PUD that we are proposing would encompass those approvals anyway, so they would be approved as a PUD today if introduced. So,
okay. Are all the improved T&Ds on the map shown as PUDs at this point?
They are, yes, sir.
And all the unimproved T&Ds on the map are shown as various things?
That is correct.
Based on the planning criteria that you implemented with your subject matter expert from the CMPDD?
That is correct.
Okay. In that regard, what impacts, if any, did density have with respect to the zoning analysis performed by your department presented to the board?
No, it was a big point of conversation, especially towards the mid to later conversations, work sessions. That density is a huge factor. So with that respect and remaining consistent, in our opinion, with the comprehensive plan per state law, that we in certain areas limited the density, maybe on the lower end of for example, if there's a medium density residential on the future land use map as an example, the rezoning or the zoning districts that fit into that may be on the lower tier. But there's also, just for clarity, Mark, there's, going back to a PUD, allows the flexibility for a more dense. You still have to be consistent with the comp plan as it relates to density. But there is still a flexibility there that would give developers in the city an opportunity to approve or disapprove developments that may not have been considered. So just because the zoning map at its basis, and assuming it gets established, is maybe lower, there is opportunity for a denser development if it makes sense.
No, I understand PUD, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But and Gray, at some point, I'm going to need you to come up so you can help with some of this, and then we'll open it up for the audience and those that want to make comments if they can. For purpose of the record, Gray Oots from CMPDD is here as well. As y'all know, that all meetings are recorded, and so this information probably will be on. Well, I know it will be on our website and available for whoever would want to review this in the future. So I want to go back to density just if I may, because I understand what could be done with PUDs. PUDs are a flexible component of a zoning district that are very important, and we want to get to that in a minute. But I want to understand, if I can, just the base analysis for the T&D transition and the density issues in that regard. If we could just focus on that just a moment for the record.
So T&D has been eliminated as proposed. Part of that was a fairly high density allowed in those areas, so we've pulled back on that. Shifting to a PUD allows that opportunity for flexibility and density, but not to the 8 units per acre that were allowed in the T&D.
Okay. And why was density a concern at this point? Is it traffic? Is it just preference? Is it, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a zoning guy.
No, I wouldn't say it's preference, and Greg can speak probably a little more intelligently on this.
Particularly for Brandon and what we're doing right now.
But we had stormwater analysis.
Explain that to me. What are you talking about?
The stormwater analysis that was performed by Wagner Engineering, as approved by this board. There's a couple of areas that development was a concern, that's something we really need to highlight as causing more issues in areas that may be prone to flooding, that may be inconsistent with the existing FEMA maps. And so with that concern and their proposal, that's a factor of limiting that density and allowing more area for things like detention ponds or anything that we need, instead of just packing that density tight. Traffic congestion is another big one. And it's just case by case, but holistically, wasn't there a MPO type investigational congestion plan?
Yes, so the MPO recently in November released the 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. It's publicly available on CMPDD's website. It reiterated what was in your comprehensive plan and what was published in the 2045 plan. So the 2050 plan mentions multiple roadways and road segments within the city of Brandon that are either near or at capacity. All models indicate those will continue to be that way until major transportation improvements such as the $10 million investment that you've received for the earmark you've received for the project on 18 to eliminate that at-grade crossing, which will later allow expansion of Mississippi 18. But until those type projects happen, you're going to have congestion issues, and density will only add to those.
Okay. And in particular, with regard to the issues that you've raised, I think the overall project is kind of maybe, I don't know, the numbers fluctuate between $60 and $90 million, but there is a federal grant that they're trying to work toward on that, which hasn't been secured yet. But I would like to ask some questions with regard to the roadway segments that you mentioned in MPO and density. And I want to know whether or not the areas where there's current T&D, for example, that's going to be transitioned into another district that is undeveloped, such as Highway 18, I think, might be the major corridor there. Does that road fall within the MPO analysis that you just provided?
Yeah, Highway 18 is one of the major areas of congestion concern. There are others, I-20, US 80, there are multiples, and these all have project improvements listed, but they're not shown until 2040 before those improvements can actually take place.
So with the exception of 471 and 468,
471 has some minor congestion concerns as well, and 468 at its intersections. You also have to account for safety concerns and where crash data comes into play. Again, all of this is in the MPO plan and can speak to that, as well as what was published in the comprehensive plan and adopted last year.
I don't have a copy of that, but at some point I'd like that to be included in the minutes if we could.
Yes, sir.
Because we've talked about it, and I'm assuming it's a basis of the recommendations that you've made here today. Is that correct, Ms. Hughes? Okay.
That is one part, along with the stormwater analysis that's been conducted.
Right, and Mr. Mayor, if we could, I'd like that stormwater analysis also to be part of the record, if we could include that in as well. So, in conjunction with what is being proposed tonight, can you advise the board, and either one of y'all can provide this information, and the applicants that are here tonight, do the text amendments and does the proposed zoning map, are they consistent with the recently adopted comp plan land use map?
It's in staff's opinion that it is, yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Is there anything that, and you've prepared your report, Ms. Uch, you've prepared a report. I assume that's part of the report, it's incorporated in?
Yes, sir.
To yours?
Yes, sir.
Other than the things that we've talked about today, what additional information do you have in your staff report that you think relevant or important to point out to those that are here tonight and to the board and those that may be listening at home?
I think some major, those are the major points, but I think some uses have changed per district. That's important to note as it relates to things like some uses that we didn't have listed before. For one, short-term rentals, we're adding that language in there to be able to better regulate that.
Okay. Just to recognize that Airbnbs and things like that exist?
Correct, yes, sir, and separate them from the bed and breakfast, which is what they've been closely related to in the past.
Okay. Is there anything else that you have to add before we hear from anybody from the audience, and then we'll have additional comments from y'all if there's anything that comes up?
I will add that commercial uses, there are some reclassifications of those based on the scale and nature that may not have fit the character of the area or the development trend that is happening in those classifications. So we did that. There was one other change that I want to point out on the public, quasi-public uses, so churches and schools. Those are no longer classified as office or research office research campus, I believe was the classification. Those are now going back to more traditional zoning districts and allowed as a conditional use in any district. So do not be concerned if your church was rezoned. It is still allowed as a conditional use in those areas.
Which we find is consistent in most Euclid zoning ordinances, things like that?
It would depend on location. So if I was to take an example, Cross Gates Baptist Church would be more of a residential based on the surrounding properties. If we were talking Brandon Presbyterian in downtown, it would probably be more of a vertical mixed use or an office commercial light commercial use.
Okay.
Mark, if I may, about the quasi-public conversation too, based on recent agenda items and decisions, we've also decided to separate battery energy storage system from that and separate battery energy storage systems, the best systems.
Right.
We separated that from quasi-public to be individually considered in the future also.
All right. Okay. All right. So stand by, because I think we've given a general explanation, a good general explanation. Well, let me ask you this: during the course of the public hearing process, during the course of the presenting it to the Planning Commission, did you have various individuals, representatives, whatnot, come to you and discuss the proposed changes to the text and the map?
Yes, sir. One more significantly, but 3 total that I can recall.
Okay. All right. And to the best of your ability, were you able to address the issues that were raised?
I feel comfortable with 2, to the best of my ability. Okay. And there's one that they just disagree. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I understand. Well, we're going to hear from those that are that would desire to make any public comment with regard to the matter, and we'll probably come back and hear some more from y'all before we wrap up. Is that okay? All right. Now is an opportunity for those who desire to make public comment with regard to the proposed text amendments and/or to the proposed official zoning map for 2026. To come forward and speak. If you would, if you'll come to the podium and you'll state your name and who you represent. If you're representing somebody, and if you are representing yourself, just say so and tell us where you live and all that good stuff. And y'all know Mr. Heilman, he needs no introduction.
Hello, Mr. Baker.
How are you?
Good evening. How are each of you?
Yeah, I'll take care.
Okay. State your name for the record.
Address, everything.
My name's Mike Heilman. I'm a lawyer in Jackson. Practice law here in town, around the state. My office is over on the corner of Meadowbrook and I-55. I am here representing Heartland Development Company, which is an entity owned by that's managed by Ben Turnage. Mr. Edwin Salas is here on behalf of the company as well. He works, and I think has worked with you in connection with these proposed changes. I was unable to make any more than 5 notebooks, but I think if you look on together, each 2 of you can have at least one. Is there another one there? Okay, we have a few issues particular with are we ready to go forward without Mr. Baker? Are we okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Speak.
Excuse me. We have a few issues or several issues with the adoption of the new zoning map and the 2026 proposed zoning modifications to those, to that ordinance. But I want to start with the issue of the meeting and the timing. A major problem we have, I know the statute allows for a 15-day notice period, and I think we have about 16 on this one. The notice was sent out March 16 of 2026, and it has been a very difficult process trying to get our hands on all the documentation to review, including the proposed changes. The notice of meeting is Exhibit 1 in the pamphlet that we gave you. It basically said, we're going to have a meeting on April 6th. Come to the City Planning Board and get a copy of any documents that pertain to these changes. Mr. Salas came over to do that. His affidavit relates to that. Immediately came over seeking to get a copy of the zoning, to get a copy of the map, and he had to submit a FOIA request to do that. He got those documents within the last couple of days. I think last Thursday, he got a copy of the actual changes, the document that shows the actual changes to the zoning itself. Has everyone here seen the zoning changes, the proposed 2026 zoning changes? I don't know if all of y'all have seen those. Are those in the package
Yes,
that's
sir,
presented to them?
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to speak for everybody, but for 8 months, we've been working through this, so they've seen that
Everybody's
time
seen it.
and time.
Okay,
and time.
very good. Thank you.
It's been in this boardroom.
Meetings, nobody can go.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. So we got a copy of those, went through them, looked at what was there. I wanted to ask, is there anything that the board is reviewing or considering in making this decision beyond the package that was submitted?
Michael, this is not, they're not on trial here.
I know.
You've heard everything that's been said. I can tell you that everything that relates to this is being considered, okay?
Fair
but
enough.
they're not here for interrogation, okay?
Say what you're going to say, and don't berate it.
Oh, no, I'm not. I guess I should have should have asked if there's, I just want to know, is there anything other than the package the information documents other than the package itself? Because I don't think I've seen it yet either.
Well,
so.
hold on. There have been many public meetings, all of which are incorporated into the action tonight.
Got it.
Including this public hearing.
Got it.
Okay.
All right.
And everything that was presented previously and is being presented now.
Okay. That's all I needed. Thank you. Excuse me. I want to go over to what is marked as Exhibit. Of course, Exhibit 3 is the public, the comprehensive plan of the City of Brandon, which was adopted, as I understand it, in May of 2025. And I want to start this presentation really with the property we're here talking about that my client owns is, if you take a look at Exhibit number 10, which is the 2025 land use plan under the comprehensive plan, It's the land that is the marked medium density residential, the kind of orangish colored on the kind of middle left of it, and then the two kind of gray, peach colored parcels. So it's just south of Highway 18 from the proposed, or from the data center. And then if you go to the east of that, you'll see another yellow colored plot. And all of that land is just a little bit north of Sunchase, kind of the north end of Sunchase, north of Highway 18. Now, when you review the plan itself, and I know all of you've reviewed it, so I'm not going to belabor any of that. You know what the purpose of it is, you know what you were doing when you did it, you reviewed it, you spent a lot of time on it, as I understand it. And that plan, if you take a look at exhibit number 6, that plan proposes that there will be regulations issued to implement that plan. One of those is a group of the zoning ordinance itself. And it goes on to say there can be changes in the zoning ordinance. The plan says if the proposed change does not conform to the plan must be amended before the requested change in zoning classification can be approved. Now, next I want to turn to exhibit number 8. As I understand it, these are aerial shots of the area where you'll see the hook in the road on Highway 18 where this land is. Each one of these properties is 2015, 2020, and 2025. And if you look at the aerial shots of this land, you will see there is no material change in these pictures from 2015 all the way to 2025. So for purposes of use in this property, there has been no significant change in that area. If you take a look at exhibit number 9, you will see the traffic counts from 2014 to 2024. And if you look at the traffic counts, they start in 2014 at 15,000 daily, and then it shifts to 15,000 in 16, and then goes to 16,000 and holds there all the way through 2024. We don't have specific ones here for 2025. I don't know if they were available, but there does not appear to be any change in the traffic count in this area where we're talking about, where on Highway 18 in this corridor, and particularly right here in this area where this property that we're talking about is affected. Now, this is where it gets, where we get to real changes in the zoning. If you look at exhibit number 6, exhibit number 6, I'm sorry, got the wrong one, exhibit number 10 is out of the land use plan, and 10B, or right behind it, is a blow-up section of the land that we're talking about. And in particular, this land is marked by the medium density residential, this yellow color, the patio home, townhome residential, which is the kind of peachish color. I think that's what it calls it in the plan. And then you'll see up on the right corner, the same peach and orange in the long strip along Highway 18. The yellow color land was marked residential, medium density residential on the land use plan itself. That's what it was planned for, was medium density residential. If you take a look at zoning for, and that's exhibit number 11, you'll see the colors are a little different on the zone map for 2025. The green part is the yellow part. The green part was all T and D. Now that's been sunset. That's been taken away. The T and D's gone. But the land use plan for that property, as adopted by the city, was for medium-density residential. Now, I also want to look at the tan color, this peach color. That was designated by the land use plan as patio home and townhouse residential. And it was zoned in the zoning map for exhibit number 11, RM4, which is townhouse, zero lot line residential, 4,000 square foot minimum lot area. Now, take a look over at exhibit number 13. Exhibit number 13 is the zoning map for this particular property that we're talking about for 2026, the proposed zoning map. You will see, if you compare Exhibit 11 to Exhibit 13, that now the medium density residential under the land use plan has been rezoned, or is proposed to be rezoned as R12. R12, and we're going to get to the exhibit here in just a second. R12, try to turn to it right now if we can. Here we are. R12 is number 17. R12 is, if you read the purpose of R12 suburban neighborhood district is to provide areas for the development of low to moderate density. So the new zoning proposal changes the land use plan, or is inconsistent with the land use plan, as the land use plan requires medium, or designates medium density, and R12 designates low to medium, or low to moderate. Now, the big change there is the financial impact on the developer, the financial impact on the purchaser. When the lot originally had to be 8,000 feet, now it has to be 12,000 feet. So you have a lot fewer homes, they cost a lot more money, and they ultimately the effect on the developer is obviously substantial. There's more cost, there's less profit in the business, but directly the user is charged a lot more money. It eliminates, and we'll get to some of this in just a minute, it eliminates a lot of purchasers who would have otherwise been able to buy this property. Now let's take a look at the...
How long are you going to go? If I might say something just for a second, please. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think, my name is Edwin Salas. I think in short, our initial or our largest complaint is that the proposed 2026 zoning is not consistent with the comprehensive land use. I think that in a nutshell is our complaint. And I think I can show you a case in point as exhibited within the new zoning plan. I believe it's table 3.4 that shows what your current zoning is today, what the 2026 zoning transfer is, and then how it corresponds to your comprehensive plan. Take our RM4 zoning designation, for instance. There is an RM4 in the 2026 plan. It's been arbitrarily removed and replaced with RM8. The comprehensive plan still has it listed as an RM4 or patio home townhouse zoning designation. Again, it's just simply not consistent. So that's our initial complaint. So I don't know if we take them in order or if we stop there.
Well, hold on. It's not a Q&A. If you want to finish, then you just want to get up and say something. If you feel like you want to get up and say some more.
Okay, I think that's fine. I mean, I think...
But say what you got, but at the same time, a lot of people talking for 12 minutes.
Well, no, I think that's our initial complaint, is that, well, just the classifications of the zoning designations, the increase in square footage minimum requirements, the increase in, so classifications, increase in square footage minimums across all categories, the minimum lot width requirements, no direct translation from T&D, no medium density that supports the comprehensive plan 0.15 minimum lot requirement. No, there is no zoning designation that supports it. No, my first gripe is that you've given me RM4 and you've changed it to RM8. I mean, I can keep going. So, I mean, maybe we stop there, answer my first question, and we can go to another one.
I think those are obviously those are the primary issues that we take with the changes. And the bottom line is, when it comes to this particular property, the new zoning plan and the map do not match or do not comport at all with the comprehensive plan. And as a result of that, they cannot stand under the ordinance and under that plan. I think the requirement is that the plan, if the board is going to reconsider it, they've got to reconsider the whole plan. They've got to develop an entire new plan in order to implement zoning that comports with a new plan.
That's what they're doing.
Is there another plan?
This is the plan.
I thought this was the adoption of a new zoning ordinance, not a comprehensive plan.
Land use plan can go. This is the next step after that.
Okay. When was that comprehensive plan adopted?
May of 2025.
That's the comprehensive plan that we're addressing. This zoning ordinance does not comply with the May 2025 plan. Right. I was just clarifying that there hasn't been a new plan after the May 2025.
There has not.
And now this zoning ordinance is outside of the scope of that plan. That's our position. Okay. You will see other exhibits here that address the impact on affordability of these homes, taking them from potential $250,000 homes to well over $370,000 homes, depending on the different particular zoning that we're dealing with. There's an exhibit dealing with income profile of people in Rankin County. It takes out large groups of people who would otherwise have been able to purchase these homes under the plan, the comprehensive plan, and the original zoning, who under the new zoning will not be able to buy these homes. Many people, at least 25, 30%, possibly more. I think it's a significant impact, not only on the fact that it doesn't comply, it also has a huge impact on the community and the people who will live here or who want to live here.
I have a question. Mr. Baker asked, when you came, you introduced yourself and gave your address. You did give your office address. Could we get both of yours home address?
My home address is in Ridgeland, Mississippi. I live in Dinsmore.
And Mr. Salas?
Ridgeland.
Thank you.
All right.
I think that's all we have.
Okay. Is there anyone else who desires to make public comment with regard to the proposed change?
Yes, I'm Ted Sanderson. I actually live in Brandon, by Brandon Baptist Church. And I think what I want to talk about is just really focused on RE21. And y'all were talking earlier, I couldn't hear real well. So if I can just get one clarification, will have a big impact on what I want to comment on.
The property here is what I think is like Marina, like
That's correct.
And is that still, that's what it is now, in the zoning map that y'all take into consideration?
So the proposed draft, yes, sir, it's RE 21. Yes, sir. It is. The light green, yeah, okay.
And the comments I want to make really aren't directed to the determination to designate that, although I will point out that area was designated low density in the comprehensive plan. Now, I understand from discussions with the comprehensive plan land use map. From discussions going back a few months ago, and a little bit from what I heard tonight, is that area kind of result, or that color kind of transition to more of a hybrid type a use between what commonly is referred to as rural residential or residential estate and low density. So it's in just so everybody knows, that area under the zoning map, proposed zoning map, will allow 2 lots per acre, half-acre lots, where low density potentially could allow more. But again, I'm not really here to complain or object to that. It's really more of an ancillary point that I'd like for the board to consider. And it really it has to do with the infrastructure requirements for an area in RE 21. And it's particularly in section 6.4, I think. So you got 3 residential estate categories: 43, 32, and 21. I think 43 is 1 acre, no more than 1 lot per acre. 32 is no more than 1.5 per acre. And then you get to 21, which is you have to have half-acre lots, 2 per acre. When you get to your infrastructure requirements, which again are in section 6, which largely are based on your street type that is required. Let me get this in front of me if you don't mind. For the 2 top-end residential, rural residential, if you will, 43 and 32, the street type that is mandated for that is parkway type street. RE 21 has a designation of avenue type street. And the difference, which I submit can be material, with the parkway design, which is currently what you have now for rural residential in the city of Brandon. One, you aren't required to put any sidewalks in. And for the drainage, it can either be open swell, which most people call open ditch, or closed curb and gutter. And that's what this zoning ordinance says for RE 43 and RE 32. So it's one or the other, open swell or closed curb and gutter. And it's dependent on the context. So it doesn't say you can do open ditch even in 1 acre lot residential. That you can always do that. You can just do one or the other depending on the context, which I assume would require, input from the city on whether it should have open ditch as opposed to curb and gutter. Obviously, curb and gutter costs a lot more and open ditch less. And again, you're talking about large lots. It's deemed, presumably by engineers, that sometimes open ditch can work as opposed to having curb and gutter for your drainage. In contrast, RE 21 provides in the draft of the zoning ordinance avenue type streets, which one requires sidewalks, absolutely. Again, we're talking about half-acre lots, 2 lots per acre. Avenue requires sidewalks. And of course, this applies for your higher density subdivision, but it also currently would be required in RE 21. You got sidewalks, you got bicycle facilities, bike lane or protected lane, and then in drainage, you're required to have closed curb and gutter. Now, going back just far, even under Parkway, it does contemplate some bicycle facilities. But again, it gives you the option of either open ditch or closed curb and gutter. With Avenue, you don't have that option. It's just closed curb and gutter. And it just seems to me, particularly since we have such a large area of land on Grants Ferry Parkway that's designated RE21, that there'd be some consideration that you had allowed a Parkway-type street for that type of land, which would at least give you the option of doing open ditch or curb and gutter. Or else, I mean, you got 2 lots per acre, and I'm not a residential developer, but I'm sure we could line them up here to tell you, it's hard to pay for curb and gutter when you're only doing 2 lots per acre. And again, it's recognized, if it's larger lots, you may not need curb and gutter. And that will depend largely on what's around the land, that particular land. If there's other subdivisions right there, maybe you need curb and gutter. But if you're up by where the rural land is, further north, and the land around you, a lot of it's not even in the city, it's curb and gutter subdivisions on, that maybe, not curb and gutter, I'm sorry, open ditch, that maybe it'd be appropriate there to have open ditch. So that's really the only thing I would ask for consideration is to put the RE21 under the Parkway type street, which again, just gives you the option to do ditch or curb and gutter as opposed to being mandated to do curb and gutter. There may be other differences that I'm not taking into account, but I think that's the main ones, which is very incidental to the zoning per se, but I think that would be appropriate, and I'd ask the board to consider that. So that's all I have. Unless,
Is there anyone else who desires to make comment with regard to the proposed plan?
One other thing, Mark, can I speak from here? Can you hear me okay? I want the exhibits that I presented.
This is being recorded.
Got it. Thank you. I wanted to request that the exhibits that I provided, including the affidavit of Edwin Salas, be made part of the record of this hearing. Thank you.
I don't even know where some of this came from.
Can I just do one more thing? I guess it's submit a proposal, which is the change, which would be pretty simple to make.
All right, so I want to follow up on a couple things with our people here. So, Joey, there's been some consternation about involvement in the process. Was Mr. Salas involved with the process of adopting the land use map that's currently in place?
Yes, there were multiple meetings, public meetings and meetings with Mr. Silas during that process.
Okay. And discussion with regard to the proposed changes for the zoning map and the zoning text, were those discussed with Mr. Salas as well?
I mean, once he requested it, he sat down with me, yes, sir, and we discussed it, I believe it was last week.
Okay, all right. And the points that he raised tonight were points that you were aware of, correct?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Those are points that he raised with you before you got here tonight?
That is correct, Mark,
Okay.
yes.
All right. And there's been an issue that they've raised time and time again that they say, and look, you guys are the subject matter experts, they say that the proposed zoning map is inconsistent with the adopted land use map, comp plan land use map in May of 2025. Who wants to address that?
I'll let her.
So I think there's, first of all, an understanding that the land use and as written in the comprehensive plan, those are meant to be general categories that attempt to identify zoning. They also identify ranges. If you look in each category, it gives a range of 0.03 to 0.74 acres, if I'm citing that correctly. Whereas zoning is meant to be very specific and more literal in that interpretation, your land use plan gives you a little more flexibility and latitude. We did not rezone every property in the city. It is not proposed that every property in the city be rezoned. Some of them are maintaining current zoning. Many of them are maintaining current zoning that may or may not be consistent with the land use plan. As rezonings occur, you should look to that to see if it has some consistency. Does not have to be an exact match at all times, depending on situation.
Okay. And with regard to the allegations about the increase in square footage, minimum lot width, have you done an analysis of those across the spectrum of the proposed text amendments?
Those have been considered, and they've been considered comparative to local areas.
Okay. And you do recall that Brandon was involved in litigation over minimum square footage all those many years ago and set precedent with regard to the nature of minimum square footage adoptions.
Yes, sir, I am aware.
Okay. Tell me about do the lot widths and the issues that you talked about there, do they address the issue or do they help address the issue of density that you had mentioned earlier, the concern about density? In other words, if we have fewer lots, we have less density, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, that's the idea, yeah.
All right. Is there anything in the comments that were made by either Mr. Salas, Mr. Heilman, or Mr. Sanderson that you feel that you need to address in any respect?
I think Greg can probably describe it a little better, and I'd like to pass it to her. But as it relates to the R12 district and how we believe it is consistent with the future land use as it relates to medium density residential. If you want to speak to that, Greg, a little bit.
Sure. So R12 is a district that can be flexible in where it is located in the land use categories because of where it falls. You're not going to build a portion of a home, but when we talk actual lot size, it could go below when you calculate 12,000 square feet into an acre. It falls into 0.27, which is below 0.3, which is within the medium density classification. Therefore, there is opportunity for it to be considered a medium or moderate, if you will, classification at times.
Okay. Well, it seems like at some points I don't know if this is a planning term or if this is a lawyer term or if this is just a term, but medium and moderate, do they mean the same thing? Or they kind of mean the same thing? They sort of mean the same thing?
They can be used interchangeably in many instances. I would say in this particular case, something that is between a medium and a low would be a moderate, which is the case with R12.
Okay. Are there anything in the comments that were made tonight that caused you to change your recommendations to the board with regard to the map or the text amendments?
No, sir.
No.
Okay. If anybody else wants to say anything, Mayor, I guess now would be the time. It's up to the board.
Can I ask Greg a question?
Yeah,
go ahead.
The concern that Mr. Sanderson had there, I understand what he's saying. I just don't know how that's been addressed here or anywhere else with developments.
So as you develop, you frequently see changes in development standards in your subdivision regulations as to where sidewalks are required. If we're going to require a sidewalk, then we typically have to have some sort of curb and gutter. An open ditch doesn't work well with sidewalks. So if we're looking at expanding residential development in a density pattern such as low density in that area, in the RE21, then you would be looking for something with a sidewalk and a curb and gutter. And that is why that recommendation was made.
Okay.
Gray, I have a question, and you and I have talked about this several of the meetings. So the reason we're looking at the PUD is the fact of if somebody wants to bring something to R12 that doesn't quote, fit the standards, it can be brought to us for us to look at and make whatever alterations we want to. Am I correct?
You are correct. The PUD will serve as that flexible district as a replacement to T&D. It's being encouraged to be used. The intent there is to allow greater flexibility in density, so the creation and preservation of open space, which helps us address our concerns of stormwater and flooding mitigation, allows for greater density in certain areas. And so that would be encouraged. If someone has R12 property and would like to get something more dense, then a PUD is most definitely an option and is encouraged in your comprehensive plan as such.
And the land that's been talked about tonight, that does fall into that category.
That absolutely would be a location for a PUD, yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
I need to follow up on that.
Hang on just a second.
And do we currently have any PUDs in the city?
Yes, sir. You have several approved PUDs that were existing and some that are going to transition to that since they were originally approved as a T&D. They will become a PUD.
Hastings is one.
Hastings is correct.
That's the one that comes to mind first. Of course, you've got
Grants Ridge.
Sorry?
Grants Ridge as well.
Grants Ridge.
That one's it's north of like Turkey Bridge area and Grants Ferry. Yes, sir.
That's a new one. And then a commercial development right next door with the Heights.
Alderman Williams brought up the PUD, and I'm glad he did because I forgot to, and I said I was going to. Is there anything else that you think is important to share with regard to PUD? I mean, I've heard some concerns tonight, and of course, they haven't applied for a PUD because they don't have a plan, but if they were to apply for a PUD, all of this would be considered in regard to that. Is that right?
That is correct, yes, sir. It allows flexibility, like was mentioned, of both the developer and the city to consider developments that make sense, right? Do it in a controlled way. As an example, R12, what is it, 3 units per acre that's permitted in that district as it sits. But if a development as proposed is considered something that the city would like, then it still has to be consistent with the future land use, but the new PUD proposal will do up to 5 families per acre. A single family, and it's 10 for multifamily. It also allows for some commercial things as well, depending on the use. But if that makes sense, they could do up to 5 because medium density, if I'm saying this right, Gray, according to the future land use, still allows up to 5 families per acre. So even though R12 today allows 3, if a PUD makes sense, you could get that higher density in that scenario. So does that help, Mark? It really does provide some flexibility. And if you can't come to a voluntary agreement, call it that way, between 2 parties, the city and a developer, then we have to follow the agreed upon district and those parameters.
I got that.
Yeah.
But I think the question that Alderman Vincent raised was that there is existing PUDs that are being carried over on purpose.
And so when Gray and I sat and met, the conversation initially started with an overlay of a PUD instead of a rezoning, which is what's proposed now, right? I propose, and I think she concurred because it worked out, is if we do this pull back T&D and we're just considering one special district, which I guess that's not fair to say, we still have vertical mixed use, but as it relates to a PUD, then the T&D, anything that was already previously approved, we don't want it to be legally non-conforming or anything like that. So we want it to be able to fit in those same parameters that are allowed. And it's my understanding that is the case here. So a T&D is a PUD with a little less density that's permitted. It was it 8 families per acre in a T&D and up to 20 in multifamily. Now we're going 5 families per acre, single family, to 10. So it's really the only change. And
that's right. You're going a little long there, but it also could be the other extreme of that. It could be more. It could be much less dense instead
of
a PUD.
Yep.
right?
Exactly.
That's correct. There's
You could put
great
2 acres
flexibility.
per house in a PUD, you know?
That's right.
There's great flexibility in a PUD, and it's a wonderful resource and a tool that many of the developers in this area are already familiar with and have used in the past.
Give me just a second.
So I know we focus on, higher density, but lower density applies just as well. That would be the case of Hastings.
Correct.
Very true.
So in adopting, because I'm looking at the language for PUD, just so I can be clear, it actually begins with, in order to encourage ingenuity, imagination, and high-quality design. That's the language in a PUD, right? Okay. Through flexible lot standards with overall residential density generally limited to 5 units per acre for single family, or 10 units per acre for multifamily. So it even contemplates multifamily within PUD, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And it allows for clustering and open spaces, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Anyway, but this is what's being proposed, this language I'm reading?
That is the exact language.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else you want to add to comment before we?
No, sir.
Thank you, Gray.
Board members, y'all have any other questions?
Thank you, Gray. All right.
Mark, may I pose one question on this PUD?
It's up to the mayor, sure. I mean, I don't control it, but I'm not tackling it.
One quick question.
One quick question is it.
Yes, sir.
My question is this. One of the concerns about the PUD is the PUD description doesn't contain any density.
That's the purpose of the PUD.
So is it?
That's its purpose.
So is it the intent with respect to the zoning that the density that's allowed for in the comprehensive plan will be facilitated through that PUD? I mean, is that what we're doing?
Yeah, if the development makes sense, yes, sir. So it has to be consistent with the comprehensive plan by state law, but so it could be up to that number as of density, as it relates to density anyway.
So the density and the development that we're talking about, the 2 pieces of property that were T&D that are now are PUD, or excuse me, they're not PUD.
No, sir, yeah.
You could present a PUD. If you did that, then the zoning, we would be looking, whatever zoning would have to be consistent with what's in the land use plan.
That is correct.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right. Gray, one more comment.
I want to follow that up and just say the conversation had during the comprehensive planning process with Mr. Salas was exactly that, and the encouragement was to look towards a PUD.
All right. Is it Mark, public hearing closed? Okay. So we're to the point now where the board needs to take action. Is that correct? Or they can table it and continue talking later. That's right. Take it up next board meeting, discuss it some more. So I'm looking for some guidance from the board.
I make a motion that we table it until later tonight.
Well, you can just pass on it for now.
Okay, we just want to pass on it then. I make
Okay.
a motion we pass.
You don't have to do that, the mayor can just come back.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Chief, we're going to shift over to you.
Thanks, Gray.
Thank you, Gray.
Excuse me.
Did we leave the public hearing open or close the public hearing?
It's closed.
All right, good evening. I've got 3 items. Can I take them together, please?
Yes, sir.
All right, the first one is request consideration for the following officers to travel for training. Officer Charlie Goodwin to travel to Biloxi to participate in the Advanced Patrol Techniques Training Course on April 28th through 29th, 2026. Lodging and meals will be funded by the department's training budget. Officers Jamarcus James and DeMarcus Adams to travel to Southern Regional Public Safety Institute to participate in the Field Training Officer class on April 14th through 16th of 2026. Again, the tuition, lodging, and meals will be funded by the department's training budget. The third one, I want to strike that one from the board. We found today that class is actually being hosted locally, and we won't have to come out of pocket for meals and travel and things of that, and we'll be presenting that one later on in the year. Number 2, consideration to hire Seth Chambers as patrolman for the City of Brandon Police Department effective April 15th, 2026, and set his rate of pay in accordance with the memo. And number 3, consideration change Officer Palmer Robbins to Animal Control Officer effective April 7, 2026.
Thank you, Chief. Is there a motion to approve those 3 items, striking the third one under number 1? Motion by Ms. Sharon Womack. Who said that? I'm sorry. Second by Mr. David Ferris. Any further comment or question? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Chief. We'll swear him in just a moment. You already got a uniform and a unit waiting for him, right? Mm-hmm. Is that why he's smiling back there? Hello, Chief. Go ahead.
All right, request consideration to travel to Pensacola Beach, Florida, and participate in the Firefighter Challenge, April 10th to 12th, 2026, for Lieutenant Brennan Gaunt, Firefighter Jay Maloney, and Firefighter Connor Allen.
All right, is there a motion to approve that travel request? Motion by Ms. Sharon Womack, second Mr. Harry Williams. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Board would like to retire after swearing in this officer to determine the necessity of being in executive session. Go ahead. Motion by Mr. Harry Williams. Second Mr. Chris Vincent. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Come on down.
Okay.
All right, we are out of executive session.
Mr. Mayor,
If you would, hang on just, folks. Folks, go ahead, Mr. Baker.
it's my understanding we've got two ads. One is to approve the professional services agreement for purpose of promoting tourism, parks, and recreation for board teachers, FSO board teachers in the city of Brandon, and the other is to approve change order number 1 regarding the big room renovation. First finding that the change would better serve the purpose of the city and is being made in a commercially reasonable manner, and further finding that change is not being made to circumvent the purchasing statutes and authorize the mayor to execute the same, like the other changes. Just need a motion and a second on that, Mayor.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign.
Okay, let me catch up.
I look at that. It's calming. I can look at that TV and just fall into it.
Would these be coming from the clerk's office or the mayor's office?
What's that?
These memos on these last two items.
One's coming from Public Works, which is facilities.
From the Public
On
Works?
the change order, or the clerk. Either way, you want to go to the clerk? Clerk.
Okay. I'll give
Caught
one
a
for
cramp.
each.
Caught a cramp in my side.
Okay. Mayor, it's my understanding the board is interested in considering the adoption of an ordinance which would adopting an ordinance which would adopt the 2026 comprehensive zoning ordinance inclusive of sections 1.0 through 11.0 and inclusive of all subparts thereof and sections therein, and adopting the 2026 official zoning map, which shall supersede and replace in all respects the 2016 comprehensive zoning ordinance of the city of Brandon, Mississippi, including sections 10 through 11.0 and inclusive of all subparts thereof and sections therein, together with any and all amendments thereto, and the currently adopted and in use official zoning map, together with any and all amendments thereto, and repealing all ordinances in conflict therewith. First finding that the amendments have been presented to the Planning Commission and have received a favorable recommendation of for the approval of the same. Further finding that you have held a public hearing in accordance with applicable law, and finding that parties in interest and citizens were given an opportunity to be heard, and having considered the comments made by those appearing at the public hearing and previous public hearings regarding this matter, previous open meetings regarding this matter, and previous considerations regarding this matter, and having incorporated the findings and conclusions by the Planning Commission as presented by the Director of Community Development, and having appended the memo of the Director with attachments to the minutes, and having considered the opinions of the planning expert retained by the city, and having received recommendations of the planning expert and the city's Director of Community Development, which are incorporated herein, and and based on all attendant facts and circumstances, and considering all matters discussed, submitted in conjunction with the proposed amendments, further referencing the storm proposal, storm drain proposal, storm water proposal that had been talked about, and the various and sundry things, including the comprehensive plan that has been recently adopted. The board does adopt the ordinance, adopting the 2026 comprehensive zoning ordinance inclusive of sections as indicated as Exhibit A, and the 2026 official zoning map as Exhibit B, inclusive of the changes as indicated. With the 2026 map, which supersedes and replaces the official map and the changes previous thereto, authorizes and instructs the placement of the same in the city's the placement of the map in the city's Community Development Department, accessible in person by the general public and made available for inspection and review by the internet on the city's official website, and such other matters determined by the mayor. To codify the 2026 comprehensive zoning ordinance by the Municipal Code Corporation with the city's current code of ordinances and made available for inspection and review in person at the city's Community Development Department and via the internet on the city's official website, and such other matters determined by the board. And then further, with regard to for the preservation of the public peace, health, and safety, and other good cause shown, including but not limited to the need to ensure proper development of residential, commercial, and industrial resources of the city, that this ordinance shall be in force and effect from and after its adoption unless the same receives less than a unanimous vote, and if receiving less than a unanimous vote, the ordinance shall be in force and effect 30 days after adoption, and that all ordinances, parts of ordinances, resolution maps, or provisions in conflict with this ordinance, Exhibits A and Exhibit B, are repealed to the extent of such conflict. There's also a severance clause unless, in the event, any part of this ordinance becomes or is determined by a court of law to be invalid for any reason. That is the ordinance as presented for the board's consideration with those findings and the things that were presented at the public hearing and incorporated therein.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. All right, board, is there a motion to act on this tonight? In what capacity? Do you want a motion by Ms. Sharon Womack to adopt with the findings included? Second by Mr. Chris Vinson. Any discussion, comment? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Thank you, board. So that concludes our business for this evening. I believe we'll meet again we'll adjourn, need a motion to adjourn until April the 16th, I believe. Is that right?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Harry Williams, second by Mr. Chris Benson. All in favor say aye. It's the 20th.